Hello everybody, welcome back to BikerDaadLife. If you love motorcycles and live for the thrill to ride them, then you are definitely at the right place. As you can see, with me today is the all-new Triumph Speed T4. I'm going to be riding this motorcycle. I'm going to tell you how this motorcycle rides. I'm going to tell you how this motorcycle compares as compared to the Royal Enfields and obviously as compared to the Speed 400 too. So buckle up and join me in this super fun ride. So we are at the Bajaj Akudi plant and we are first going to ride this motorcycle moving on to the T4.
Few moments later.
Performance. Let us talk about performance first. So yes, in the initial lower RPMs you would not even come to know the difference between the T4 and the Speed 400. Seems pretty similar. Only when you push the motorcycle on those higher revs you come to know that you're on another machine. Apart from that, at lower RPMs the motorcycle is pretty talky and is pretty enjoyable. You wouldn't be having a dull movement as such while riding this motorcycle. I touched around 140 on the fifth gear itself. I know you would say the speedometer is not right, but give it to the machine. It's doing well, and probably it had a little bit of more juice to drag along on that sixth gear too.
So talking about the engine, you get the same engine. There's no kind of difference with the engine there. It's the same 400cc capacity engine that you got with the Speed 400, but definitely it's going to be detuned and it's around 9 to 10 PS lower than the Speed 400. The torque figures have also been lowered a little, but this motorcycle gets that torque in the initial RPM, so that's where the difference is, where you feel once you give in to the throttle, the torque comes in faster at a lower RPM, that is. And what I felt was relatively the motorcycle felt similar to the Speed 400. Even the heating part I felt was pretty similar to the Speed 400, and the engine vibrations wise also felt kind of similar, if not lesser than that of the Speed 400. The engine felt more relaxed as compared to the Speed 400. Obviously it was not meant to be pushed around those corners. It's meant to be rode normally. It's meant to be rode linearly and more casually.
Talking about handling and comfort, obviously the motorcycle is not as sporty as compared to the Speed 400, that is. This gives a more relaxed kind of a handling, but it's somewhere in between, I would say. It's not too lenient and it's not too sporty. It's definitely something in between. Now the wheelbase is also a little longer, making it more of a touring machine to give that comfort more than the sportiness. Also now with the different handlebar, the hydro grip handlebar here, it feels a little bit tad different than the Speed 400. Has a more relaxed sitting, not a little bit aggressive like the Speed 400. This is much more relaxed in this portion. It's got a higher handlebar. Talking about the comfort, the motorcycle is pretty much the same. The foot pegs remain the same. There's no difference in the foot pegs. The seats now have been changed a little. The radius for the rider's seat has been altered a little to make it more comfortable, and obviously the pillion seat, the thickness has been increased for better pillion comfort. So the T4, that stands for torque 4, because this gives initial torque at a lower RPM, that is. The T4 has been meant for more longer rides, more comfortable rides, crunching more kilometers on the roads. That's what the T4 stands for.
Talking about the suspension, and the most easiest thing noticeable to the naked eye is obviously the telescopic suspension now that you get with the T4 as compared to the UHD that you got with the Speed 400. With the telescopic suspension, the ride is more calmer, more city oriented. It loses the sportiness which I personally liked of the Speed 400. But yes, this motorcycle is more easygoing and it's meant to be not rode that hard. So in that manner, the telescopic suspension, when I rode it, felt pretty decent and did its work on those bumpy holes.
Talking about another important aspect, that is the braking of this motorcycle, I would say the brakes are okay-ish, not as good as the Speed 400 because you don't get sintered brake pads now. The discs are the same of the same dimension of the Speed 400, but now you don't get sintered brake pads. That's what makes a whole lot of a difference there, and the brakes are kind of sluggish when you push them to the limits. Also, you don't get any kind of traction control, so that's another important feature that you miss probably. You obviously get dual channel ABS in this motorcycle, but like the Speed 400, you can't switch off the ABS while riding.
On the rear, you get a monoshock. It's not the same as the Speed 400. It's a little tweaked as compared to the Speed 400. As you get a more bigger wheelbase here, the tires are different. So yes, the suspension I felt was pretty decent, not very stiff and not very hard too. So it was okay for our usual city rides and your one-off touring rides too.
Talking about the tires, you now get MRFs. These are non-radial tires, increases the weight of the motorcycle there a tad bit than the Speed 400. But whatever I've rode as of now, the tires felt pretty okay, but don't expect them to be top-notch or of a better performance like its sibling, the Speed 400.
The motorcycle retains the retro look of the Speed 400. The cues and the curves are all the same. The lights, the lighting part remains the same. There's no change with the lighting part. But as you see, obviously the graphics that you see are different. Here you get the 400 in numbers here, and here you get the Speed T4. T stands for torque. So torque 400. Again, here you can see the Speed T4 badging. On the rear, if you see, the grab handle has been changed now. It's more simpler and more accessible now for those long rides, for the pillion. And well, I had no qualms with the looks of the motorcycle earlier, and the looks pretty much remain the same. As you see, the motorcycle is completely blacked out. The wheels, the engine part, and even the exhaust is now fully blacked. So that gives a kind of a youth kind of a feeling with the motorcycle. Talking about the tech, the motorcycle gets the same speedometer. There's nothing different with the speedometer here. It doesn't get traction control, but gets dual channel ABS, which is not switchable like the Scrambler, that is. And the motorcycle does its thing in its very own way.
Just like the Speed 400, this motorcycle is also pretty tactable. See, I'm on the 5th gear and I'm doing 40, and I can easily take off from here. So your city rides would be handled easily with this nature of the motorcycle. That's what I love about the Triumph Speed 400 and now this T4.
To conclude all of this, how does this motorcycle stand to the competition, that is to the Royal Enfields and the Speed 400? Well, I would say this motorcycle is a little more punchier than probably a Hunter 350, and obviously it's going to be detuned and it's going to be less sportier than the Speed 400. So if you're looking out for something that is more fun than the usual 350 motorcycles there in the market, then this is the one to go. If you're looking out for something that would take you touring, that would be easy in nature and not as sporty with the acceleration, then this is the motorcycle for y'all. Well, if you're one of those easy-going riders and don't want something as sporty as the Speed 400, then this is the one for you. If you're kind of tired with the usual REs, the 350s, then this should probably make sense for y'all. If not, the Speed 400. If y'all would ask me what would my personal recommendation be between the Royal Enfields and the Speed 400 and the T4, that is, well, I'm the speed kind of guy. I'm the power kind of guy. So it would definitely be the Speed 400 for me. No two ways about that. If you all like the video, do hit the like button. Do share the video with a friend. Let him know about this motorcycle and this super duper comparison too. If you all haven't subscribed as on yet, then what are you all waiting for? Subscribe, guys. We've been slogging our asses out. Thank you so much for watching. Do take care of yourself and your families. See you from Biker Dad Life. Bye-bye.